Hey everybody, my name is Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another comic book haul video today. A couple things I wanted to talk about really quickly. I guess that the Joker movie came out this weekend and it's gotten some pretty decent reviews. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know, I may or may not wait till it comes out on DVD. But I believe it's gotten some pretty decent reviews. It's actually pretty funny too that a lot of stuff has been popping up in my feed now. Things like, Joker movie changes everything. Joker movie destroys political discussions, or Joker movie revolutionizes whatever. I'm like, it's probably decent. I don't know if it does all that much. But now I'm really curious. So I'll probably try to check out a video that, or a review that maybe tackles maybe the more serious themes of the movie without, spoiling things too much. It does make me think of, the next thing, like over the last few weeks or whatever, you've had people like Jennifer Aniston and Martin Scorsese, and to a smaller extent, excuse me, Robert De Niro saying things about superhero movies and Marvel movies. Martin Scorsese saying, well, these movies aren't really cinema. And, Jennifer Aniston saying, she's probably going back to doing TV, because, just because of the proliferation, the proliferation. I can't talk. It's been a long day and I've had a beer or two. But, how prominent all these sort of Marvel superhero movies and things of that sort are, they're not 100% wrong. I don't even think this is a relatively new phenomenon. I mean, I've been hearing people say something to the effect of what they've been saying for years. Well, first of all, the whole thing about, the good acting and drama, people have been saying for the last at least 10 to 15 years that the place to go is, television, it's cable. You want to see good drama for adults. You're not going to go see, the Charlie's Angels remake or whatever. Stay at home and watch Breaking Bad. Stay at home and watch Sopranos. Like, that's the good, drama. That's the good acting. These are the stories for adults. These are the stories that have really conflicted and flawed characters and in an uncertain world or whatever. So, that Jennifer, somebody like Jennifer Aniston, who's not not a 20-year-old anymore. She's like in her late 40s, early 50s. Of course, she's gonna go back to TV to take roles that she feels are a little bit meatier. And, the same thing, like I was going to say about Martin Scorsese saying these movies aren't, really cinema. They're like roller coaster rides. They're like theme parks and stuff like that. Again, literally since I was a kid, people were saying that about stuff like, Star Wars or whatever. These movies are just special effects, or that's when people are being charitable. Less charitable. It's like these movies are just advertisements for toys and whatnot. And like I said, I hate to say it, but they aren't 100% wrong. I mean, a lot of Marvel movies and superhero movies and things are formulaic, and they are very calculated. And the only thing about it, though, is I think Scorsese had said something like, "Yeah, it's up to the theater owners to give people a chance to see, more serious movies." I'm paraphrasing, but it's not. It is up to them, but it's not wholly up to them. It's just like, well, it's the movie studios that are really pushing these films. The movie studios are banking more and more on being successful by making these big tentpole movies and franchise movies and things like that. That's another weird thing I see on the internet, not just, with these kind of disenfranchised stars, but, just regular people. It's like, oh, there's no more originality with movies anymore, and all they do is make these sequels. Like, when have they not done that? Really, they've been doing that since movies have existed. They weren't necessarily using terms like franchises and things like that, but going back to Star Wars, to James Bond, to Thin Man, to whenever, his idea that Hollywood has lost its ideas and are just trying to cash in on a quick buck or an easy buck. They've always kind of done that. So, but okay. So anyway, we'll talk about some comic books. I'll talk about a couple of comic books I read recently. Then I'll show you the more recent comics. So, okay. So we're gonna start with Safe Sex #1. So I guess the premise is it's the near future and a kind of let's see here, kind of a totalitarian conservative party or whatever has kind of taken over the country, and they've kind of enacted all these sort of repressive laws and things. And this person used to hang out at this kind of sex club or whatever, but since the crackdown, she's had to get a straight job, and her old friends have kind of gone underground with their thing, and they don't trust her anymore. Meanwhile, her husband's got a straight job, and again, people are all kind of the authorities are all kind of watching them. And this first issue looks like they've somehow slipped up, and they're all going to get carted away or something like that. And the main character has to go on the run. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting so far. I'm curious as to where the story's going to go. I'm curious as to, obviously, it's a comic book with a big message about, I don't know, sexual freedom and liberation or something. So, okay, so I'm interested enough to give it another couple of issues. White Trees #2. Thought it was decent. The second issue, the first issue had all the sexy stuff. This issue has all the fights and violence in it. So it's not bad. It's well paced, and for what it is, I guess it works. Fantasy's not really my main bag, but I thought it was okay. There's an interesting twist at the end. So I don't know. I'm not sure how much. I don't know if Chip Zdarsky, who's the writer of this, and Chris Anka and Matt Wilson, who are the artists, are going to do a sequel, possibly. Could be, maybe not. We'll see. But it was all right. All right. Lois Lane #4. I think I've mentioned before, I really like the writing so far. The art, I think, is a little bit disappointing. In this issue, we have Lois Lane meeting up with her son, Superboy. I don't know, I'm a little bit disappointed. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe disappointed isn't the right word, but it's just interesting how in these superhero comics these days, they can't just have superheroes who are like kids. At some point, everybody needs to age them up and make them teenagers again. Over in her Fantastic Four comic, I'm not reading it right now, but they've aged up Franklin and Valeria, or whatever their name is. They're teenagers again. With them, I'm willing to give it a pass just because. Let's face it, those characters have been children literally for 30 years or so, 20, 30 years. But anyway, getting back to this story. Oh, but just to complete my thought, it's just it's okay to have adults raising children in your superhero comic. I think I kind of get the feeling these writers and artists want to age them up so they're closer in age to to some of the readers, you know what I mean? And I also think it might be that whole thing of how they don't want too many people being married and stuff like that. There's that whole fantasy element that's a little bit lessened when, you're somebody you've got to take care of, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and 10-year-olds. Teenagers are a little bit more independent and, I guess. So anyway, there's interesting things going on here. We're getting deeper into the mystery. There's this interesting bit here where there's some woman who's gone insane. Somebody's asked for a wellness check on her, and something crazy happens. Let's see here, mild spoiler, but it's interesting here that they give you this bit here. Can you read it? You can't really see it. But a panel, there's some writing on the floor, there's a logo or whatever, and then there's a panel that says Leviathan, and I guess that's probably there to connect to Brian Michael Bendis's crossover with the more kind of gritty street characters in the DC universe, the detective characters. So anyway, there's a nice little talk between Lois Lane and Superboy, and then there's more stuff in here with the question, and it's the both questions. So you've got the Renee Montoya question, and she has a reunion with the Vic Sage question. So I found that pretty interesting. So, okay, all right, let's see here. Okay, all right, and I'm actually trying to do two things at once. I'm showing comic books, but I'm also cooking. So in a couple minutes, I'm gonna have to get up and do something out of camera shot here. But and also had this Faithless number 6 of. This is the conclusion of the story. I guess they leave it open for another possible miniseries, and it was a kind of fun ride. It was pretty interesting. Who knows? Maybe we'll do another video about, I don't know, modern day sexy comics or whatever. But there's this whole thing again with the main character. The girlfriend comes back. The girlfriend's dad, who may or may not be a demon or Satan or whatever. Oh, wait a minute. I can show this without getting in trouble with YouTube or whatever. So, and there's this whole thing about this character being an artist and kind of embracing your desires and embracing your passions and freedom and this and that and the other thing. So yeah, maybe I'll reread this and either do a separate video on this by itself, or maybe find some other comic books I can kind of compare and contrast it to or whatever. And also, we've got 7 Days. This is just some sort of crossover with the Lions Forge characters. And really, I don't know what's actually happening. It mostly just seems to be an introduction to the characters in this universe. So it's something of some sort is happening, and I really am not sure what's going on. You've got this character who's a bad guy in the oh shit. I can't remember the name of the character. It's she's a bad guy in this guy's comic, and I can't remember what his name is right now. And she's got this scientist, and hey, come work on this business I got going on, and la-di-da-di-da, and some other shit's going on over here with some people, and then we get Speedster guy showing up, yakety schmackety, and yeah, it really just seems to be kind of an introduction. Noble, that's this guy's name, Noble, and here he is flying through the air with his wife. And like I said, it's not a bad comic book. The art's pretty decent, the writing's solid, but it just seems to be kind of like I said, sort of a introduction to this world, and we know something weird and ominous is about to start happening, and but yeah, that's that. All right, so just excuse me for 1 second, and then we'll talk about I'll show you some of the comics I bought this week. Okay, so just give me a moment while I go over here. try not to keep some food and things from burning. Ho, ho, ho. Ha, ha, ha. Hee, hee, hee. Ah. Okay, I'm back. Alrighty. Cheers. Okay, so recent comics. Okay, so I bought this facsimile issue of Son of Satan. It's Marvel Spotlight number 12, Son of Satan. And what's funny about this, after I started reading it, I realized that I actually have this somewhere at home. Gary Friedrich. I actually have this buried in some box somewhere. But this, I guess, is the first experience, like I said, of Son of Satan. Writing is Gary Friedrich. Art is Herb Trimpe. But I already had this. But that's okay. I don't regret getting it. It's still kind of fun and crazy and zany and everything. And these aren't just simply reprints. They're also, they include the ads and everything else with them. So, live and work in man country. We'll train you in your spare time for an exciting outdoor career. Oh yeah. Prizes for cash. Woohoo! Have you seen this coupon before? No. Okay. All right. So, Powers of X number 6. I actually did read this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. A lot of people are talking about how it's a setup for a new status quo, and they're right to an extent. To the extent that they're wrong is the status quo that you've seen a bunch of times already. The X-Men on an island. Professor X is walking around walking. Magneto's an ally. They've had all that future time stuff. The only thing they didn't really have, and they sort of had, was a big mutant massacre in it. But that's all right. It was fun. I'm interested in the way, I think, how should I say this? Jonathan Hickman put all those elements together, and he told them in a pretty interesting and compelling way. And I'm interested to see where he takes it. The only thing about this is I'm sure this status quo is only going to last as long as he's got a contract with Marvel. So, that's the bad part of it. He likes this really long form storytelling, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't work. And, I'm hoping it's not going to take him like 22 issues to tell one story, you know what I mean? So, but okay. Also got Black Widow number 2. Pretty Deadly The Rat number 2. Coffin Bound number 3. And let's see here. Oh crap, what else do I got here? What's this? Temporary Tattoos, Venom. It says, oh no, Absolute Carnage, that's what it is. And it says contains 5, so, all right. And then I got, it's just promotional shit for a comic book that I bought today. Alright, what else is here? Flyer for the store I went to. Another flyer, save the date, Halloween special. Is this, I guess it's free comic book day again? Only for Halloween? Is that what this is? Alright, that's fine. Okay. Here's a promotional free comic from DC. Batman Who Laughs. I don't know how I feel about that character, but all right. It just looks like it's something that's supposed to be dark and crazy and edgy, but it also seems kind of silly. I don't know. Uh, Metal Men number one. Justice League 34. X-Men number one, variant cover with Jean Grey. Let's see here. I was looking to see which artist this was, but I can't tell. I can't tell because so many people have done so many variants. But this is the one I got. Okay. Captain Marvel number 11, Mary Jane variant. Marked number one. I don't know anything about this comic other than I think the people in it are supposed to have magic tattoos or something. But okay. We're all down for magic tattoos, right? Killers number 4. Oh, excuse me. Gideon Falls number 17. And then Blade Runner number 2019, number 4. Okay, and then these look like some X-Men trading cards or something. And it's got these weird symbols on here, so you know it's all about the Jonathan Hickman story. Okay, so then that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Everybody have a good day.